Welcome to Agents Growth Academy. Get ready to grow big or go home. Class is now in session. Folks, I am unbelievably stoked today to bring on Gabe Oh, who's the principal at Western Pacific Insurance Group outside of Seattle. His agency was a Safeco elite agency for 2 years running, Liberty Mutual Regional Agency Council member, Hartford Insurance Stag One agency, which sounds super sexy, Rotarian of Mill Creek, Washington, husband and father of 2 daughters, 5 and 7, private pilot, yeah, what's up? And then started his agency from scratch in 2010. Gabe Oh, what's up,
Hey,
dude?
hey. Oh, nothing is up. Everything. Hey, it's sunny. It's Seattle. It's this time of year. We
Hell
probably
froze
get
over. Oh my gosh,
no.
it's
It's
sunny
been
in
gray
Seattle.
and cold and rainy for the last probably about 3 weeks. So
Yeah,
I'm happy. We got a little bit
yeah.
of sun. I'm happy.
Sweet, man. Tell me
Yeah.
about the
Thanks for
pilot
thanks for
thing real
having me,
quick.
Jim.
Oh, dude, absolutely. My pleasure. Tell me about the pilot thing real quick. I'm super curious about that.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of a COVID thing.
Yeah,
Actually, I started taking flying lessons when I was 17. My
nice.
dad, was amazing and said, "Hey, you should try this." I said, "Okay." Of course, being 17, you don't appreciate anything, and I got about 85, 90% complete, and just kind of disappeared and said, "Oh, I'm done." I don't know what it was. I don't know if I was afraid to take the final test. I don't know if I was just 17 and dumb. Probably the latter.
Probably.
But anyways, it was something I've always regretted. And during COVID, I said, you know what, I gotta do something for myself. I've got to pick up a hobby. So went ahead and got lessons, and last summer I became a official private pilot and flying on the
Congratulations.
weekends when weather's nice, and I love it. It's literally a passion of mine. I absolutely love it.
Dude, that is awesome. You are like your own Seahawk. That is fantastic.
I love it. It
Flying the
is
friendly
amazing.
skies.
You do small planes?
No. Well, I ride in them sometimes if I'm going
Yeah.
to a small island, but
Oh, okay. There you
I'm
go.
not flying them. No.
They have these small islands, not too far, about 30 minutes north of here, called the San Juan Islands. Flying in there, literally, oh my gosh, the best thing in the world. Can't
I've
beat it.
never seen it, but I would love to. We spent some time out in Seattle a couple of years ago, and before that, like maybe 15 years or so ago, and just absolutely loved it. You guys have an
It's
amazing
gorgeous.
city. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
it's
lucky.
gorgeous.
Dude, you've been blowing up my LinkedIn feed recently with all this stuff about like branding your agency and marketing. And I was just like, you know what? I got to get this guy on because he knows a thing or two. Like we're, we were talking off mic a little bit. Like we're a little bit larger agency and we don't
Not a little bit.
spend,
You guys are a lot larger. Come on,
well,
Jim. Let's
yeah,
be
I
real.
mean, yeah, we get about 50. I think you said you have about 6.
Yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like I think we're missing the boat on a lot of that stuff, and I want to pick your brain about it. So I'm just curious, like from your standpoint, was there some kind of pivotal moment or epiphany that you had that branding and marketing for a smaller local agency was like where you needed to be?
Sure. Well, I started scratch. It'll be 12 years in March, coming up March. So
Congratulations.
oh yeah, appreciate it. 12 years, a big milestone. And when you're first starting out, we live in a town called Mill Creek. There's a bunch of captives around. Western Pacific Insurance. What is Western Pacific Insurance? What is that? No one
Yeah.
knew who the heck we were.
Yeah.
Are you guys the insurance carrier? Are you the company? We don't get it. We don't understand. So that's why we wanted to kind of brand ourselves, educate ourselves, really get people to know that Western Pacific Insurance is a true local agency that cares about the community.
Yeah.
And then, so again, selfishly, I really love swag. I mean, you can see I got the vest on here. I've got the cup, branding cup here. I mean, I
Yep.
anything with our branding on. I love giving stuff to people.
I saw a
You know,
bobblehead of you in one of those posts, and you guys got
yeah.
like,
I've got a Funko.
dude,
I
how
don't
do
know if
I
you guys
get a
have that out
Gabe
there.
O bobblehead? I want one
Yeah,
for my
yeah,
office.
I've got one of those. I think anytime you can brand yourself and
Yeah.
let people know that you're local. All our employees are. We're very fortunate to have all of our employees that live probably 5-10 minutes from our office. So
Uh,
we been able to maintain that throughout COVID. I mean, we did shut down for a few months, but after about 3-4 months, it all came back in because they felt comfortable. So
Yeah.
yeah, we truly brand ourselves the best we can, and I think people get a kick out of it. Here, let's be real. We're an insurance agent. You know, are you gonna be? Do people really want to rock an insurance agency hat or a shirt?
But yours look cool, and that's what
Yeah,
sort of differentiated, because it almost seemed like if you didn't see the word insurance in there,
yep.
like I
That's
was like,
yeah.
dude, I
Here's
would wear
our.
that.
So we started out with this logo here,
Yeah.
and this is
Okay.
very corporate and boring. Let's
Yeah.
face it. And we actually about 2-3 years ago, we worked with a local designer, and went with exactly. You nailed it. You can't really see that down there, the insurance group.
Yeah. It's
We
snuck in there.
we nailed it to. I wanted something a little bit more friendlier, something that if you had a logo on a hat or a shirt, something you'd be proud to wear. And I see that I have clients that'll send pictures of where they're walking through a grocery store and they'll see somebody else wearing one of our hats or some our t-shirts. They'll take a picture of it, send it to us. I love it. I think
And
it's
they're
a
like thinking
great
it's a
thing.
lifestyle brand or something. It's not even an
Oh,
insurance.
yeah. Who doesn't want it? So no, people love our hats. People love our shirts. People love our swag.
Yeah.
And we do. I would say we probably spend a lot more money making sure that it's good quality.
Yeah.
Like for example, shirts. Who doesn't? You can go pick up a shirt for a few bucks that feel like you're wearing cardboard. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Who wants to wear a shirt like that? Our shirts.
Yeah.
In fact, just yesterday, I was visiting with a mortgage lender friend of mine, and he's like, Gabe, you gave me a couple of your shirts like 3 years ago. Literally, they're still my favorite shirts. I wear it
That's awesome.
every day at home.
That's
I
awesome.
love it. I
Yeah.
love when I hear stuff like that.
And there's a lot of power in what you're talking about, like seeing somebody in the grocery store and that person who's kept that shirt for so long. You're communicating your brand, right? And
Right.
that's such an important thing to remember. There's so many different ways to communicate and to put yourself out there. It's funny, we were talking off mic about David Carruthers. Like, he talks about how the stuff in their kit that they send to all of their insureds is better quality stuff that you would want to wear
That's
yourself,
right.
right?
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be candid. I don't know that if we threw our logo on something, it would definitely look like, kind of a corporate-y type logo like you got. I think we'd have
Yeah.
to like do some brand consulting. Maybe you could do
Yeah.
some brand consulting for us.
Yeah. I think, yeah, David's got a cool logo that really doesn't. I'm trying to think. I think his actual logo doesn't even have insurance on it.
Yeah.
Florida Risk Partners. But yeah, David's definitely got good swag. He's sent out some stuff to me, and he's got some really good stuff. Here's a big thing when because we're talking to insurance agents, right? More than likely,
Yeah.
or insurance agency owners.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get it. You got to get to a certain point from a revenue standpoint to be able to afford stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I started scratch, so I understand counting pennies and being careful because you got to pay your rent and whatnot. But so it might take a few years to get there. But I will say people focus a lot on ROI when it comes to marketing or anything like that. And ROI is important. You got to track that stuff.
Sure.
However, there are certain things that are not trackable,
Mm-hmm.
such as giving out swag.
Yeah.
But it just makes you feel good, right?
Yeah. You can't track how
And
long somebody's going to keep that shirt in their drawer and still
nope.
love it.
And you can't, and you can't track that. Hey, just because someone got a hat or a wine tumbler that you're going to be getting, they're going to stick with you for 3 more years or 5 more years. You can't track that. But to me, it's worth it. To me, when I get a text from a client saying, "Hey, I see one of your shirts at our grocery store, near a local grocery store, or had it by soccer practice. My coach is wearing one of your hats. My son's soccer coach is wearing one of your hats. I love it. It's worth it to me. Makes
That's
me
awesome.
smile and makes my week. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're slowly kind of infiltrating your brand into your local community, and when people, especially on a smaller stage, are seeing that, there is that brand recognition. I'm curious, for those listening, like, how, when you rebranded, was there a secret sauce there? Did you consult with somebody? How did you go about that?
So I'm all about local. So we used a local designer, Mario. Fantastic. Shout out to Mario Lewis.
Awesome.
Great guy. And I told him, I said, it's very important to me to keep this, very similar,
Yeah.
but different.
Yeah.
That's
Totally
basically
different.
what I told him.
Yeah.
I said, it's got to be similar because I don't want to get rid of this. I
Yeah.
have way too many jacket vests with this logo on it. I don't want to get rid of them. I literally have like I think 11 of these in different colors. Yeah. So I said, I don't want to get rid of them. I'm not even lying to you, Jim. This is the honest to God truth. But I
You have a
also want a
problem, man.
secondary logo. Yeah, right. I want a secondary logo, and this is what we came up with. And he's fantastic. And this is what we use now for more of our branding. But we still have this logo as our primary logo.
Yeah. It's very like California surf shop.
Yeah, right. It's
It's
not
it's
it's not a insurance. It's in fact I got a friend of mine where's he says it's his favorite hat and he's like and it's like no offense but it doesn't look like an insurance agency hat. It looks like you're like a surfer hat or something. So he loves it. He wears it
you're
all the
like,
time.
dude, that's the point.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
And by the way, for our listeners who might be listening to this on the podcast, because it is a podcast, if you want to see what we're talking about, just go to YouTube and put in Agents Growth Academy, and you can find this episode. You'll see it. But love the swag. I'm wondering, Gabe, is there like what kind of obviously you tell us a little bit about the feedback from the community. Are you sending any of this stuff like automatically to clients, or how are you getting it into people's hands, I guess?
Sure. So on our welcome boxes, we don't our swag box is insane. It's I think we cost it out. It was and we buy everything in bulk, but it was still 17 $18 a box. So we're
Okay, so
very
walk me through that process because
sure.
we don't
So
have
we're very
anything like
choosy on
that.
who we send, right? Let's say we insure you, Jim. You become a
Yeah.
new client of ours. Let's say you're, multi lines. We'll just talk personal lines because I think a lot of people are personal lines agencies out there because
Yeah.
we do quite a bit of commercial. But let's say home, auto, umbrella, good account. We think that the account's going to stick for a while. We're going to send out a welcome box. If it's just a renter's policy or a small auto policy, we'd love to, but we just can't. It just doesn't make sense from a financial
Sure.
standpoint.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's a multi-line account, we'll send out a welcome box. It's got some T-shirts in there. It's got a letter, intro about our agency, our commitment, which I think I got this from another agency that does it. Just so you know, I am not creative. I am the least creative person. I don't have a lot of good ideas. I'm very boring. Uh, I tell everyone that I'm like, and I can say this because I have an iPhone. I'm like Apple. Like you steal all the ideas from Samsung and then just make it better. That's me. I look at what other agencies are doing, steal their ideas, and then just kind of make our own twist to it.
Hey
So
man,
anyway, so none
work
of this I'm
smarter, not
telling you
harder.
exactly. None of anything I'm telling you, is groundbreaking stuff. There's other agencies that are doing it, and they've been doing it for a while. But we just feel like I don't want to say better because that's not correct. We just make it our own. We put our own personal
Yeah.
touch to it, and maybe spend a little more money on certain things than other agencies do because for us it makes sense.
Yeah. Totally. That makes a lot of sense. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you have to be able to differentiate yourself.
Mhm.
And it's great. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we steal ideas from other people all the time. And actually, I mean, it's not even stealing. Honestly, I've said this before on the show. This is one of the most giving industries that I think there is. We
100%.
freely give to each other, share
Yeah,
ideas for free. Don't
yeah.
charge a penny for it. I mean, yeah, there's people out there that have courses that after a while, you might hook up with them and attend a mastermind or some online course or whatever, and that's fine. But before you even get there, there's loads of free advice, free content. So
And speaking of that, I'm going to
yeah.
tell you a story. Now, off before we started recording, Jim's probably sweating bullets right now because
I
I said,
am.
Jim, I
I
know you
am.
don't know
You
this.
teased it, but you never told
I
me.
know, I know. I said, I know you don't know this, but we've actually talked about 10 years ago. But that what you just said is a good segue. So when I started, I'm about 12 years in. When I first started about 12 years ago, like I said, I'm not creative, so I'm constantly online looking at other agencies. And I don't know where I ran into your name. Either it was on LinkedIn or Facebook. I'm not sure, but I saw you may I don't know if you still use this video, but it was basically an introduction video, and you were really getting into video back then. I
Yeah.
think you were one of the originals doing video back then. Good for you, Jim.
Maybe.
He's the real deal. So anyway, so here I am, barely in this business, green as heck, and I called Jim. I look him up online. I call him, and I think it ended up going to his voicemail. I said, "Hey, Jim, I know you don't know me. I'm in Seattle, and just wanted to get some pointers on video, on kind of what you're doing. I love what you're doing, and because you got this big agency over in fancy Atlanta, Georgia. I didn't expect you to call me back. I think that day you called me and you spent a good 10-15 minutes with me on what you're doing, how you're doing it. I think you were using interns at the time. And I was just so appreciative of that, Jim. And that is amazing that you would do that. And I wanted to bring that story up because what you just said, this industry is the most generous industry full of great people that are willing to talk to you. Just yesterday, I had a local agency, actually only about 10 minutes from our office. She called me, and we have this board that we use where we track our numbers on a monthly basis. And she asked about that. And she's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I think we want to do something like that, but can you tell me what you're doing?" And I spent a good, 15-20 minutes talking to her. And I do that on a regular basis. Not that I know better than others, but when somebody calls me, I take the time, and that's from I learned that from partly you, right?
Oh man,
You're a
no.
busy guy, and you spent time to call me back, and I really, really appreciated that, Jim.
It's funny, dude, because when we recently reconnected on LinkedIn, I it's funny you say that now because I was like, God, his name just sounds so familiar. It's not a common name, right? Gabe Oh. Um
I've gotten considerably sexier in the last 10 years, so maybe I look
Oh,
slightly
sorry, I didn't mean to
different.
laugh that loud. Sorry.
I know. So, but
Oh,
anyways, that's it. And I've done that. There are so many local agencies around here where I've contacted them and asked them, pick their brains, and they've been so generous. Now, there have been some that have hung up on me. I'm not going to name those people, but
wow.
in generally speaking, this agent community is amazing. The IA channel is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, for those listening, I'm glad you can't see how red I got when he told that story. I'm quite
Jim, I know
embarrassed.
you were sweating bullets. So I before we started recording, I said, "There's a story. I know you don't know this, but we talked about 10 years ago," and I could tell you're like, "Oh, shh."
I know,
Oh
man.
man.
Oh man, I'm just yeah. You know, I I think another thing that this industry does to you, or at least to me, is like it has sucked my memory just clean dry. And
No, 100%.
actually, wait, no, that's my kids. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's my kids that have done that.
Well,
Yeah.
I was talking to you earlier about your hair. Look at this, man. I don't know which side there. Look at this. I'm 42, and oh my gosh,
We
it's
we just
ridiculous.
we're gonna have to have the gray head club. Like I know we were joking. Like I think it's the light. Like you're right. You can't really see it, but I'm telling you, when it's not in
You got a
this
good
light,
head
it's
of hair,
definitely
Jim.
grayer. Yeah.
I'm envious. Yeah, yeah.
Oh well. At the risk of us sounding like we're getting into like barbershop talk,
Sure.
I'd love to do rapid fire round with you. What's one piece of technology or software that you cannot live without?
Gosh, I gotta. I'm sure everyone says this. Their phone and their tablet.
Yeah.
It has to be. So I read something. I don't know. Don't hold me to this, but I read something that the today's iPhone has 1,000,000 times more computing power than the Apollo 11 spacecraft that went to the moon.
Jeez.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know if that's accurate, but I thought
I've
I
heard
heard.
something similar, and it's
It's
mind
insane.
boggling.
And I think we talked about flying, and
Yeah.
um, when I took lessons when I was 17, we literally had to fly. We had to check the weather by calling before we went up. We'd
Yeah.
literally look at maps.
Yep.
But now it's incredible.
You
You
just
can,
mount a
while you're in
tablet,
the
right?
air. Yeah, while you're in the air, you can see where the live weather is. You can see the clouds forming. You can see, you've got GPS, so you literally can't get lost. It is absolutely incredible, the technology that is in the palm of your hands these days.
Do you know a guy named Tate Hobdy out of Mississippi?
No.
He's an agent as well. I'm gonna have to connect
Okay.
the two of you because he flies. I see
Okay.
him like once or twice a year at a secure risk meeting, and
Oh, I
he
would love
is
it.
yeah, he's been a pilot for a while too. Actually, when he was practically, I don't call it interning because he had a full-time job with us,
Hmm.
but his father owned an agency, and basically Tate came to work with us for about a year just to get a
Yeah.
feel for not his father's agency.
Hmm.
And he took flying lessons at PDK, Peachtree DeKalb Airport here.
Oh,
And
love it.
man, he every minute he wasn't in our office, he was in the air.
Oh, I love
And
it. I
yeah,
love it. I will
so
say that I was just talking about how incredible the IA channel, the agent community is. The pilot community is just as amazing.
yeah,
They're so generous, so just giving. In fact, I just had dinner with 3 or 4 random pilots that we just met somehow. I don't even remember how we met, but I drove up an hour north on Saturday and had dinner with them. It was incredible.
that's awesome. Oh, I bet there's
Yeah.
some good stories too. Good
Oh, love
stories.
it.
What's one book that you're either reading now or that you just love and you want to share?
Well, let's see. I have a 5-year-old and 7-year-old daughter.
Oh, so it's
The
Dr.
last,
Seuss. Okay.
yeah, the last book I read was last night. A Christmas, well, I think it was a Christmas collection. I think it was a story about Elsa's what she wanted for Christmas or something like that. So we do a lot of books, bedtime stories. Quite honestly, I don't get to read nearly as much as I'd like to. But when I do read, I'm trying to think the last 2 books I've read. Usually they're on vacation on the plane
Yeah.
or if I'm by the pool or something. But Jack Welch is a
Mm,
former
yep.
GE CEO.
Yep.
I read his last book. He passed away a few years ago, but Straight to the Gut,
Mm,
fantastic book about
yeah.
principles and all the trials and tribulations he went through with GE, turning that
Yeah.
company around.
Yeah.
And then I'm a big history nerd. I
Nice.
love Stephen Ambrose books,
Oh, yeah.
Pegasus book, World War II type stuff. Yeah, that stuff really. Yeah, that stuff I can't put down once I pick it up.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's fantastic. Do you ever listen to books on Audible?
So I don't because my commute is about 30 seconds. Okay, maybe 7 minutes, but yeah. So I don't get to do a lot of books on tape.
Well, if you ever start walking to work instead of driving and it takes you a little longer,
Are you
just go
trying to are you, are
to
you trying to tell me something, Jim? Are you trying to
y-
tell me I should walk
no,
more?
no, I'm just saying if you have an opportunity to
I
have a
do. I
longer
do go on
commute.
walks though. Yes. Yeah.
For you or any of our listeners, if you go to audibletrial.com/grow big, you can actually, they'll give you like the equivalent of a free book. And it's a great, I mean, I have probably listened to about 700 pages worth of books over just the last 30 days. And that's including that's exclusive of the books I'm reading in print. The funny thing is, man, when I was an English teacher, I I know this is gonna sound terrible. Like, I hated reading. I hated it. I loved
Yeah.
poetry. It
Yeah.
was so simple. It was short. It was concise. But now I love reading, and yeah, it's it's a good thing. But yeah, Audible. If you want to give that a shot, go for it. Um, what's
Absolutely.
what's a time? And we talked about this a little bit off. Did you think about anything that was like a storytelling moment in business that you can think of, whether you used it
Sure.
with a
Well, I think
client
I
or?
told you a couple years ago I started a video series,
Oh
and when I
yes,
think
yes,
storytelling, yeah, I think of this. And so I started. So Kevin, do you remember who Kevin Nealon is? Old Saturday Night Live.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he was the bigger guy on the pump you up type of thing.
yes,
So
yes.
he came out with a web series on YouTube, hiking with Kevin. It was hilarious. He literally it was raw. It was him with a selfie stick. And he would just interview random people. It's mostly like celebrities, but he'd go literally hiking through LA. and interviewing them. And it wasn't like a regular interview where you'd see on a late show or anything. It was because they were dressed in hiking clothes. It was awesome. And I was addicted to this series. So I said, you know what? I wonder if I could do something like this locally where I can interview clients, business owners, because I'm a big believer in the philosophy you buy from the people you like, right?
Yes.
You buy and so the whole my thought process was, hey, let's go on a walk through our little town center we have called Mill Creek Town Center, do a 30-minute walk, and let's just ask questions and get to know. Danielle Pratt was she's a local attorney. And I
Yeah.
said, let's get to know her. I'm sure some of her clients don't really know her on a personal level. So let's get to know her on a personal level. Who are her siblings? Where'd she go to school? What's her family like? And people loved it. And so we did 4 or 5 of those, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So we unfortunately haven't been able to do that in a while, but I'm going to get back to it starting the new year. So I'm really looking forward to it. It was just kind of picking up steam. In fact, I get people asking about it, asking, hey, when are you going to do a new series all the time? So very, very excited about it. And that's, a really good example of kind of storytelling. I think whenever you could promote other people, whenever
Yeah.
you can whenever you can highlight other people, it's a win for you because you're there as your brand, but also for them.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because there's people that do things in a similar vein that I think have I this is the first I've heard of anybody doing that, and I think that's a brilliant idea. I was telling you about like my sunrise walks with my dog Sammy,
That's all
but
right.
this is even better because Sammy is not very good at talking. So to have somebody
I would be
talk
concerned
back,
if you didn't respond. Yeah,
right?
if you told me Sammy's a great talker, I would say, Jim, yeah, something's going on here.
But I know uh, we already talked about Carruthers. Carruthers, if you're listening to this, don't let your ego completely inflate and
Oh,
explode your head.
100%. He is loving this. 100%.
but he talked about driving by a prospect's place of business and just stopping, and if they didn't have a chance to talk to them, he'd take a little quick video in front of their sign and then send it to them. Say, hey, sorry I missed you. And it's like just little things like that to be able
Yeah,
to give to somebody
yeah,
first is
that's right.
brilliant. I put together actually a list of ideas like this. I'm going to have to add this one to the list, but if you go to agentsgrowthacademy.com/sales, there's a handful of ideas just like this about how you can give to people first in
Hmm.
order to warm them up and endear them to you. And this all goes back to what we were talking about before, just like communication,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And telling stories to be
yeah.
able to give.
Yeah, so during right when COVID happened, and we're going to do this again in the new year, but right when
Yeah.
COVID happened, we went and got some really nice shirts, support local shirts, and went out. We ended up doing, I don't know, it was probably 30 or 40, highlighting 30 or 40 local businesses. About half of them were our clients, half of them were not our clients.
Yeah.
And it was exactly what you just said. It's about giving, right? It's about,
Yeah.
hey, we care about you. We want to support your business regardless of if you're a client or not.
Yeah.
And now all the half that weren't my clients, I didn't go based on, hey, I want to do your insurance. In fact, we didn't even talk about it. But
Yeah.
naturally most of them have reached out to me when their policies have renewed. They said, hey, I don't my agent never did anything like this for me. Can you take a look at our insurance?
Isn't that the best way to sell? It
It's the
made me
best.
think of
Yeah.
Mitch Gibson, who does something similar with his podcast where he interviews local people in the town. And I don't think it's a big town.
Hmm.
Can I make a suggestion? And this is a very
Sure.
serious suggestion for you.
Absolutely.
When you start doing these videos again, will you please wear a Mr. Rogers sweater and overlay the Mr. Rogers music for your walks? Maybe have a shot of you tying your shoes and walking out the door.
I love that idea. I'm not even kidding you.
Can you
I love it.
if you do that, I've got to, I don't even know what I would do, but if you do that,
I
uh,
actually love it. I'm a big Mr. Rogers fan. I grew up on him. I'm not even kidding, Jim. I'm gonna do the very first video when we come back in January. Exactly what you just said.
yes.
Yes, it'll be
Yes.
dedicated to you.
Dude, I cannot wait to see that.
I
I
love it.
can't wait
Great
to
idea.
see that. Oh my gosh. At the risk of having too much fun, what is one final piece of advice that you would give to our audience based on what we talked about today?
You know, I don't think it's more. It's not really more of a based on marketing or local marketing or branding or anything like that. I think it's just more, surrounding yourself with good people. Like,
Yeah.
Jim, you're I would consider you a good person because of that story I was told you from 10 years ago. I already know. Like right when you reached out to me and said, "Hey, Gabe, can you participate in this podcast?" I absolutely 100% said, I know Jim doesn't know who the heck I am. He doesn't remember me, but I knew. And I was like, absolutely, I'm going to do it. He's a fantastic person. And that's the kind of people I want to know. So I tell people, surround yourself with people that are going to push you, that are going to give, that are going to give just as much as they take. Right.
Yeah.
It's got to, we all know people that maybe take a little more.
Yeah.
Um, try to, I don't want to totally unfriend all those people, but try to really keep your core of people that you work with, and people that you deal with on a regular basis, that that match your your willingness to give and take, and people that are going to always push you.
I
That
love
that
that.
that's be my recommendation to anyone that asks for advice, is just surround yourself with good people.
I love it, man. That is absolutely fantastic and so true. I was sharing a story with you right before we got on about James Jenkins, who is very much a giver, and he challenged me off air on something, and I'm super glad he did, because I think he was worried he was going to come off a little strong, but I'm so glad he did, because it really got me thinking about the way that I think about my show, this podcast, and what we're going to do with it. So people like
I'm
him,
super excited.
yeah,
I know you're just kind of now scratching the surface and getting started, and I'm excited to see the Agents Growth Academy grow, and I'll be keeping an eye on you and checking in, and yeah,
I
I'm
won't
excited. I'm
forget you
very
this
very happy
time.
for you, Jim.
I
Yeah.
won't forget you this time.
Oh yeah, sure, buddy. I'm gonna 10 years from now, I'm gonna even be sexier, so you will not forget.
That's awesome. Hey, speaking of giving, if I said, Gabe, I want to give you something, soup or gourmet marshmallows, what would you choose?
Oh, soup.
Soup. What kind of soup?
Oh gosh, I this is how un bougie I am. Favorite restaurant? Oh god, Italians are gonna cringe. Olive
Oh,
Garden.
I almost said Olive
Come
Garden.
on, man. Oh, you can eat breadsticks and soup,
Oh
and
man,
they got their zuppa tostana, the potato, whatever. I don't even know if it's really Italian, but yeah, always go with the soup.
so what would be your go-to soup? The potato soup?
Zuppa tostana. I think it's like a potato and meats and yeah, things like that.
Nice. Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
send you a soup from Spoonful of Comfort. It's actually a whole package that comes
Oh,
with some amazing rolls and some cookies and a little surprise inside that you're going to love. I don't know if you've
oh, I
ever had.
appreciate that, Jim. That's very kind of you.
Have you ever had
Well,
Spoonful of Comfort?
no, but it sounds very fancy.
We gave it as a thank you gift this past year to our employees, because during COVID we didn't get together for our annual employee appreciation brunch. So we sent
Hmm.
food to them, and it was the biggest hit ever. So ever since
That's
then,
awesome.
when I started the podcast, I was just like, you know what, this is what I'm gonna offer something like this to my guests, and I'll tell you, every single person has picked soup. Mountain Mellow, I'm sorry, I'm trying to push your marshmallows, but maybe I shouldn't have you have you compete with soup. But
It's hard. It's hard to compete with soup, man. It really is. And then I'll tell you what. If you ever come out to Seattle, I'll take you on a
when
flight.
I come out to see
Oh, yep,
you,
yeah. Whenever you come out next time, we'll go on
we're
a
gonna go to
flight.
Olive Garden.
Yep, we'll go to Olive Garden, and then we'll do a Walking with Gabe series.
Oh
Get to interview
man,
you.
and
Yep.
I'm gonna bring my best sweater too. I can't wait.
I
I can't wait.
love it. I love
Oh,
it.
dude, Gabe, it has been an absolute pleasure. I mean, like, seriously, this has been so much fun today. I really
I
appreciate you being
appreciate
on
it.
the show, buddy.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. Everybody out there listening and watching, grow big or go home.